Yo, what's good? And look, I told people, when Boosie did this interview with Breakfast Club, I said, hey, I don't think he got the job done. I think somebody else who's anti-industry should have been up there and they could have got the point across and it could have been more transparent and it would have, you know, it would have came across as a logical man who just didn't like the fact that this kid rapper is having such of a sexual influence on the youth, black youth. Because that's all Boosie was saying. He didn't like the fact that it's not that Boosie hates gay people or he hates Lil Nas X. He just didn't like the fact that, hey, this is a kid rapper with a big kid audience, and why is he over sexualizing himself in front of all of these kids? This isn't right. And there's nothing wrong with what Boosie said. I agreed with him. But the way he articulated, people was like, what do you mean he didn't articulate himself? He's got an education. He went to high school. His mama was an English teacher. I'm like, y'all don't get it. He wasn't the right person for that interview. And on top of that, I knew they were going to bring up the contradictions of him because he's in the industry. You know, y'all work with some of the same people. I mean, that boy's on Columbia Records. Lil Nas X, you know what I mean? And I knew they were gonna bring up Boosie's past records. Even Boosie's admitted, yeah, when he went to jail, he was locked up with cats that, you know, that he influenced that got in prison because of his music. So for several reasons, I don't think he was the right person. But if you look on social media now, they have made Boosie the meme of homophobia. He's become the face of homophobia for 2021. Anything that happens that's anti-LGBT, they slap a little Boosie image on it and they make the meme of him, and they've made a mockery of him. That interview did not do him any favors, and it didn't help push the conversation forward. They controlled the entire interview. The narrative already was, oh, he's just this bitter old thug who hates gay people. And then the interview started, they controlled the entire interview, the narrative. It was an onslaught. It was a 3-on-1 handicap match. He never stood a chance. You know, and I had seen Boosie do this before when he was on the Mike Tyson show last year, because he made comments about Dwayne Wade, which I agreed with, where he was like, yo, man, I think your son a little too young to be having identity changes. And he went on the Mike Tyson podcast, and either they edited that really well or what, because as soon as the show started, Mike went right in on him. And I don't know if Boosie was shell shocked because he couldn't believe Mike was taking the stance to defend Dwayne Wade's son. But as soon as the interview started, he was like, yo, so tell me, why are you coming at Mike Tyson? I mean, why are you coming at Dwayne Wade's son like that? I don't think that's right. I don't think you should do that. Yeah, that's his child. And Boosie's just standing there like, if Mike Tyson has a very intimidating presence, you know what I mean? Like, Boosie's a grown man, Mike Tyson's a grown ass man. And I'm watching this gangster rapper with all these felonies and charges, stuttering and just lost. He was intimidated. He didn't know what to say. And as the same thing, Mike controlled the interview. Mike, he didn't change Lil Boosie's opinion. Neither did the Breakfast Club. But they still pushed that narrative to make him look like this anti-gay, you know, homophobic thug or whatever. You know, so he's done this before. And like I said, someone who can control a room should have been having that conversation. I threw out names like Claude Anderson. Somebody was like, oh, he's boring. Don't nobody watch him. I said, bro, his Breakfast Club interview did almost 5 million views. What are you talking about? You don't watch him. You know, like, there's other people out here who can drop gems that are actually intelligent, that aren't entertainers, believe it or not. Someone who's anti-entertainment, that can articulate, that can control a room, that's not going to tolerate any nonsense and is going to challenge nonsense, should have been up there having that conversation, not Boosie. And I agree with Boosie, and I applaud him for coming up there, because a lot of rappers feel the same way. A lot of people feel the same way, but either don't have the platform to address it or just are too scared to get canceled. You know, like Breakfast Club tried to make, according to them, because they had Nas X on the show, he said F your kids. According to them, this is, and Lil Nas X is a modern day, this is what we have in hip hop now. We have these troll artists. It's kind of like 6ix9ine. 70% of his makeup is trolling on social media and all these shenanigans. The other 30% is music substance. That's what Lil Nas X is. It's all of the shenanigans and all of the stunts and all of the trolling. So according to him in Breakfast Club, he's trolling when he's dressing up as a female with a pregnant stomach. But a lot of women didn't take that as a joke. That offended a lot of women. There was nothing funny or comedic about that. And Charlemagne even tried to compare those fraternity photos to that episode on the Cosby Show where Cliff and Theo gave birth to hero sandwiches. Now, rather you thought that was funny or not, that was the punchline. They gave birth to sandwiches. They were trying to be funny. You got what they were trying to do. At no point in that episode, and I watched that episode before, they weren't putting on makeup, trying to look pretty with flowers on their head and oiling up them stomachs and trying to look like females. They were just all in the emergency room having a baby, and it was a sandwich. You can't compare the two. It's like apples and oranges. And see, someone who can challenge Charlemagne on that would have done it. But, you know, when you got cats that don't, it is what it is. You know, so I knew they were going to do that with Boosie. So everything anti-LGBT for the last couple of weeks, they slap Boosie on it and they make a mockery of Boosie. So the chances of him being taken seriously again on this topic is slim to none. He just wasn't the right person. You know what I mean? He had the right message. He just wasn't the right messenger. He wasn't the right person to deliver that package. And it's a shame that he didn't say anything incorrect. He never said he hated gay people or anything, but they made him that guy, pretty much, you know, ever since the Dwayne Wade shit. And I believe, like myself, I think that boy Dwayne Wade's son, I think he misses his mother. And he has like that Norman Bates syndrome, where Norman Bates missed his mother so much, he started to emulate his mother, walk around in her wigs, her dresses, her makeup. He did that so he could fill that void of his mother being dead, and that was his way of bringing his mother back to life. And now this kid is having an identity crisis, and he's calling himself Zaya, and he's walking around dressing up like a woman. I think a lot of that has to do with him missing his mom. But I'm not a psychiatrist, so I mean, what do I know? But yeah, they definitely did a number on Boosie. Now, while they've done this, they haven't canceled him. You know, he did the big concert in New Orleans. They haven't canceled him because they don't take him as a serious threat. In order for them to cancel you, they have to look at you as a legitimate threat. They don't look at Boosie as a threat. They take him for a joke. That's why they've made him a joke. They've made him a punchline. They don't take him serious enough. Now, the baby, they took him serious. They were going to cancel his ass. And he had to apologize 3-4 times. And so he still has a spot on the roster. You know what I mean? Because he apologized enough and did God knows what else to get back to stay on the roster. But you know, if they don't take you serious enough, they just gonna make a joke out of you, and that's what they've done with Boosie. So that's what I was saying when I was telling cats I don't think he was the right person. And now, hopefully, you see what I mean. You know, because every anti-gay anything I've seen in the last 2 weeks, they've put Boosie's face on it, and it's like, okay, this is what they're running with now. You know what I mean? Like anything anti-LGBT, slap Boosie on it, put it on Twitter, and you get 1 million retweets. So. Like I say, I applaud Boosie for standing his ground. He just wasn't the right person for the message, and I stand on that. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'm out.